call me B Money. Getting money, honey, call me B Money. Not even funny, call me B Money. Living where it's sunny, B for short, don't call me Sir Buddy.
What's up, everyone? Thanks for watching the B Money Show. I'm your host, B Money, and today we're going to talk about how you save for retirement. So, given that I'm in my mid-20s, this might seem like a topic that's kind of far out there, but it's super important that you start early. The biggest thing in these kinds of topics is that you're going to be planning ahead. So when it comes to saving for retirement, as you know, I really recommend having all your savings automated. The first thing that you're going to do, and if you don't have one yet, now is the perfect time to get started. You got to get yourself a Roth IRA. What this basically is it's going to be an investment account where you can build up your funds and actually take out the money tax-free if you wait until you're 59 and a half. So, where do you get a Roth IRA? Now, there are lots of companies that offer, good Roth IRAs like Fidelity and things like that. But me personally, I use Vanguard. And Vanguard was recommended to me by a very wealthy financial advisor that I met. And after doing my research, I did find out that was the best account for me to use. Now, the cool thing about Vanguard is all the types of information you can get from them. So they will actually go into the two different types of IRAs that apply to most people based off your income. So you've got your Roth IRA and you've got your traditional IRA. Your Roth IRA, you pay the taxes on it first, and then you get your post-tax money that you can put into the account. And at that point, when you're 59 and a half, you can take out the money and with no tax. The traditional IRA is going to be your pre-tax account where you get the money before it gets taxed, but you do pay the taxes when you take out the money when you're actually ready to retire. So I recommend going with the Roth IRA for like 95% of people. So I'm not going to get too bogged down in the traditional IRA because me personally, I'm using the Roth, and so that's what I know best, and so that's what we're going to kind of go into. So when you set up your Vanguard account, they're going to ask you a whole bunch of questions as to how comfortable you are with risk, when you want to retire, how old you are, and they're actually going to give you all the details in terms of where you want to be putting your money, more or less. So I'm not going to tell you, because I don't know who is watching this necessarily, how you should structure your portfolio. But we'll take me in my specific case. Vanguard for me recommended when I opened up my account at the age of 22 that 80% of the funds in that account should be allocated to stocks like ETFs, and the other 20% allocated towards bonds. So what we're going to do really briefly is I'm first going to share with you the types of, there are basically 4 different investments that you make within the actual Roth IRA, and that's how you grow your money. So without further ado, I'm going to pull out my Vanguard account, and we can go into all of the different types of investment options that are going to be available to you. So the first thing that you can see real quick is the amount of money that you've put into the account. It shows you everything right up on the front page of how much money you've put in and how much money you've made from that. At first glance here, I am up 18.9%, and that was, of course, with the fact that I started at the age of 22 and still obviously invest in it monthly to this day. As of right now, I have $300 that automatically drafts from my checking account straight to my Roth IRA, and this happens once a month. Keep in mind, with the Roth IRA, you're able to put $6,000 per year into this account, and once you hit a certain age, I believe it's 50, you're able to then put $7,000 a year into the account. So, now just putting the money in the account isn't actually enough. The money that first goes into the account sits in what's called a money market account. Now that's going to get a higher rate than your traditional savings account, or possibly even some high yield savings account, but that's not actually money that's invested. That's money that you can then turn around and invest. So you can then go more specifically, and in my case, They usually recommend that you have like 60% of your portfolio and your ETFs on US companies, and then about 10%, somewhere along those lines, in like international companies, and then the other 20% in bonds. On the count of the fact that I live in the US, the majority of everything that I invest in is US based. So there are 4 different ETFs that I would recommend purchasing and that I purchase myself. So you can kind of see in here, I'll just give you the symbols for them. You can do the research on them in your own time if you'd like. We have VTI, that is going to be Vanguard's total stock market. We also have VOO, and that is going to be the Vanguard S&P 500. So that is going to keep track of the top 500 companies, and it'll go in line with how those companies perform. We also have VGLT. That is your Vanguard Long-Term Treasury ETF. That is going to be basically like the U.S. That's the U.S. bond that I have, and that pretty much is determined by the U.S. Treasury. And then the last one that I recommend purchasing is VNQI. Now this one actually grows the least amount. These are international real estate stocks that you're purchasing, and this one doesn't really grow as much. But with that said, this stock, when you this ETF, when you own it, pays you the most for owning it. So pretty much what you would do in your younger years is you're going to have all the dividends that the stocks or the ETFs will pay you back reinvested into here, which will then buy portions of that company as you're investing in it, because you're not touching this money until you're 59 and a half anyways. Now, with that said, along the way, you can take out the money for 4 main reasons. You can pay for schooling, you can purchase a house, you can start a business, and you can pay off medical expenses. If you're pulling out the money for those 4 reasons, you don't pay the penalty for pulling out the money early. So you are exempt if you are pulling out the money for those reasons. So you can feel safe in knowing that you know, the money is not fully tied up until you're 59 and a half, though I recommend not touching it anyways and finding another way to pay for those kinds of things if you can. Because like I said, it's always better to invest less and not touch it than to try and overdo how much you're saving and having to go and pull out of it. That's never really the way to go in most cases. So pretty much all you're going to do is you're going to buy and hold. Now, keep in mind, you're going to have VOO and VTI, the S&P 500, and the total stock market. Those are going to be your real money makers, but they pay less of a dividend. So essentially that money is going to grow the fastest, but it's going to pay you the least. VGLT, the long-term treasury bond, that will pay you the second most, but that will grow at a slightly slower pace than your S&P 500 and the total stock market. And lastly, we have VNQI. That is the global the global real estate index. And that actually is going to be paying you the most in dividends, but it's not really going to grow that much. So that is the different types of ETFs that I would recommend investing into. But the rule of thumb in terms of setting your goals for what your actual retirement number is, at some point you'd like to be able to live entirely off the dividends, and that way you're not actually touching the money that you put into the account. When you can live off your dividends, that's when you're hitting real goals. You know, that's when you're talking. You're in a pretty good spot at that point and ready to retire, and you have the FU money, if you will. So with that said, thank you very much for watching. Until next time.
Call me B-Money, getting money, honey. Call me B-Money, not even funny. Call me B-Money, living where it's sunny. B for short, don't call me sir, buddy.